Recently, I've been listening to a lot of fairy tales on audiobook because they help my daughter go to sleep at night. One of the stories that I've heard a lot of is The Emperor's New Clothes, and I've heard it multiple times in the last few weeks. Something I've noticed is that the people in the story are all afraid or embarrassed of looking stupid, which is certainly a relatable feeling for most real people, but if the story were written today about modern people, I think I would change it so that the clothes were said to be invisible only to bigots, not to stupid people. All the people in the story would see the emperor walking by naked and they'd think, oh no, I can't let everyone know what a sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic, ableist bigot I am. I'll just tell everyone that the emperor looks awesome in his new clothes. When asking myself honestly, I have to admit that this is probably what I would do in this situation, and I hate that about myself. It's probably what most people would do, whether they think so or not. I used to think that people had stupid political beliefs because they didn't know any better. I thought they based their beliefs on overly simple or naive understandings of the world, or that they'd been deceived at some point in their lives. But as some of the widely held beliefs become more ridiculous, I've started to think that people must know better, but they pretend to agree with this or that belief, or they just remain silent out of social embarrassment, like the people in the story. When trying to overcome this instinct to conform with the opinions of others, I try to remind myself that I'm neither exceptionally smart nor exceptionally stupid. So if I've noticed something wrong with an apparently widely held belief, it's quite likely that other people have noticed it too. Maybe even most people. Therefore, all I need to do is to state the obvious and the spell will be broken, as it is in the story when the child says the emperor is naked. So after thinking all of this over and deciding to do better with myself, I saw an opportunity on my local online mums group. I once heard someone say that Superman is different from all the other superheroes because his hero persona is his true self, and Clark Kent is his disguise. Although I would never compare myself to Superman, I can empathise with that aspect of his character. Online, I'm Poe the person, which is not my real name, so I can say my real opinions, because the name is fake. But with the local mums, I use my real name, and the opinions are fake. So when I saw one of the mums had posted about the success of a recent anti-racism training day at the local secondary school, I wouldn't normally say anything, even though I object to anti-racism training in schools for many, many reasons. But after hearing The Emperor's New Clothes so many times and committing to do better with myself, I decided I could not remain silent in good conscience. So I wrote a reply simply asking, in these exact words, and these words only, do 13-year-olds really need to learn this at school? One mum answered my question saying, absolutely, don't you agree? And I responded, not really appropriate in my opinion. That was the full extent of my interaction with that post. I didn't want to start a debate or try to convince anyone of my opinion. My only aim was to let anyone reading the thread know that they weren't the only one to notice the emperor was naked. It didn't matter to me that all the responses to my question were in support of teaching 13-year-olds anti-racism in school. One woman even bragged that she was teaching her 4-year-old not to be racist. I was speaking for the benefit of those who were too embarrassed to speak for themselves, so I never expected to get any public support. I wanted to prove that I wouldn't be cancelled on the spot just for voicing mild dissent. But it turns out I was a bit too optimistic. A few days later, I got a call from my employer's HR manager who said that a complaint had been made about me. HR made it clear that no action would be taken based on the complaint, but I was still sweating with nerves all the way through the call. I knew on an intellectual level that I'd done nothing wrong, but it still felt like I'd been caught committing a crime. It has certainly made me reconsider whether I would speak my dissent openly again, in no matter how mild terms I could put it. One complaint might be easy for HR to ignore, but if they get 2 or 3 more complaints about me, even if they're all completely groundless, even if I've never had any issue working with any non-white colleagues or clients, what is my employer going to think? Most of the other employees of my company have zero complaints of racism against their name. I don't know who made the complaint about me or why, but I suspect this is how she wanted me to feel, if she wasn't trying to get me fired outright. Now I kind of hate my local mums. It's a private forum, so I know it must have been one of them, but I don't know which of them grassed me up, so I'm tempted to be suspicious of all of them. This is what they teach you to do in anti-racism training. To be an ally of the oppressed minorities, you have to say something when you see someone being racist or not being anti-racist enough. If you don't say something, you're complicit in racism and therefore racist yourself. That's how this ideology turns people against each other. In totalitarian regimes, they had to provide incentives to make people turn in their neighbours to the authorities, but these days people will just do it for free because they don't want to be racist. I'm morbidly fascinated to see just how far that philosophy will take the most militant social conformists.